And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another actual race video, not a loud pedal remix. But this weekend we are in Creek County in Oklahoma. Big shout out to my buddies Thomas, Lane, the Morton family. They were all extremely exceptional this whole entire weekend. The hospitality in Oklahoma is second to none. I felt the love. I honestly felt like I was running my family team back at home. I run for a lot of race teams across California, and I've gotten the chance to run for the Calderwoods in Arizona, and they're another great family team. But I got to add another great family team to my resume, and running for Scissor Racing Development, it was just like running at home. It was an amazing opportunity. This one was for Avery, Lane, and Thomas. It was a beautiful opportunity, and I can't thank them enough for just everything. The Mortons for lending us motors, shocks, whatever we needed. They're amazing people, and same with Goodman and Thomas. It was amazing. I got to meet so many amazing people. Emery, Kate, I'm at a loss for words. It was just, I can't say enough good things about this experience. Even though the results weren't what we wanted, I had an amazing time. And in racing, it's not always about the results. It's more than the results to me. It's about being a family and being a team, and we were definitely a team and a family team, and I love that. But let's get into it. First couple laps at Creek. Here we go, qualifying. First night we're a little tight. As you guys know, I'm a diva in the race car. I like to be loose. I like to chase the race car. I am not a big turn and left kind of guy. But regardless, you got to drive the shit out of it. So here we are. We're kind of sailing it off. And one thing about 1 and 2 is 1 and 2 is banked, and it would completely throw you off for 3 and 4, because 3 and 4 was flatter than, lack of a better term, it was flatter than fuck, guys. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 are two completely different corners. You feel like you're barreling in there to Merced in 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 you feel like you're going into 3 and 4 at Marysville. But after I thought about it, this track is a good comparison to Marysville. It's Oklahoma's Marysville. Two completely different corners. The track was completely different both nights. It was the dirt kind of reminded me of Chico, how like you kind of pack it in on top. It could either go ice slick and the rework does absolutely nothing for you, or it could be juiced up. But as for the heat race, you guys know the deal. Always arc open your starts, no matter what the circumstances. I arced open my start, kind of got the water running downhill, and tried to plug a gap on the inside, and it just really didn't work out. We allowed the 21 KS to just get a slingshot around us on the top, but the top was just, I don't understand that about this place. The top was not that far around, but it's significantly slower than the bottom. I don't know if these guys don't believe in a lot of stagger or what the deal is, because I feel like if I was at home and just on my normal shindig in California, people would be blasting the top around 1 and 2 and then kind of just bomb in the middle or bottom in 3 and 4, but that's not the circumstance. This track was definitely awkward and not something I am completely comfortable and normal with, which I do like. That part about running new racetracks is kind of getting out of my comfort zone. Running new cars also gets me out of my comfort zone, and it allows me to grow as a driver, and I can get comfortable with things that I'm not comfortable with. And all of that, even though the results don't show, those things help build me into the driver that I want to be. And I get to learn from these experiences and apply these experiences to my next race and my next race and my next race. But this track kind of threw me for a loop all night, and everyone said it usually gets pretty bone slick, and it just kept on getting more and more hooked up as the night went on, and the track really never slickened off to what everyone was saying it traditionally does. And that is with a tight race car. Lane kind of runs a little bit of a different setup than I do, and yeah, I'm just not a big tight race car guy. There's nothing wrong or right about any of it. It's just at the end of the day, the guy in the cockpit. I think comfortability is a big thing in sprint car racing, and if you can be comfortable, that is a massive step in a direction. Even just being comfortable at a racetrack, like Seth Bergman has a million laps around here. I guarantee he could wax my ass with the same setup just because he's more comfortable here. So the fact of me being uncomfortable, being tight, and a new racetrack, it kind of all just plays into effect, and it just doesn't, like, I should have shot around that guy right there. I should have just drove around him, but I wasn't 100% comfortable in my own skin in this moment, and yeah, I just didn't make decisions that I know I should have made. And I feel like that also plays into things a lot too, just being comfortable at a racetrack, knowing the racetrack, knowing who you're racing against. You can make those decisions. Like right here, oh man, big tight and then big up into the fluff, and that was not it. That was a bad move on Caleb. That was not good. I should have kind of wicked up the car a little bit more, because whenever the car's getting tight like this, I feel like you kind of got to stand the thing up and kind of prop it on the left rear yourself, and just me not being comfortable with the track didn't allow me to do that. And here's a little insight on how I take a thumbnail. Thought you guys would like this. But yeah, just all those things kind of play a factor into just those little tiny improvements. And I feel like the first night I could have been a lot more comfortable. Like if the first night was the second night, I would have been more comfortable to just stand on the gas and wick the car up and kind of make the car have the posture that I want. But I was still learning so much on Friday that it just didn't really play into it. But now the track is slick how I like it. So I enjoy a nice, good, slick racetrack up against a curb. And right now we're just running 3 inches below it all the way around the curb. I could have gotten a little bit more aggressive on the curb. 1 and 2, I felt like that was kind of my money corner. I would kind of lay up into it just a little bit and kind of tap the curb all the way around. But 3 and 4, I wasn't entering as high. The guys were kind of dropping their nose. I don't drop the nose as much as those guys, and they're plugging it up against the fence. So 3 and 4, I could have dropped the nose a little bit. But yet again, I feel like I barreled it off in there in a 1 and 2 and kind of get that tight, lay up into the curb and just keep the thing driving. So I felt like that was kind of money. But then as for 3 and 4, I could have gotten a little bit more aggressive on the curb for sure, because I kind of missed it in the apex right there, and then it allowed me to hang off the exit. And I just didn't carry as much momentum as I possibly could. I felt like there was a little bit of momentum up there for grabs, and I think Bergman smoked me by like 4/10. And I think where he smoked me was just keeping his momentum up by attacking the curb in 3 and 4. He probably was a little bit more aggressive in 1 and 2, but I think that was probably only 1/10. So I think I left probably like 3/10 on the table in 3 and 4, and that's kind of what allowed him to smoke me by so much. But then Garth goes out there and runs the bottom, so I definitely think the bottom was the place to be there late in qualifying, like Lane told me. But of course, drivers never listen. But here we go. We're rolling into the heat race. We're starting pole. We know we needed to get the jump. Homeboy thought he could lead me a little bit, and yeah, dude, if you're gonna lead me that much, I'm gonna pick your little pocket. So he kind of led me, and I just timed it perfect. In California, they're very strict on their starts, so I don't know. When somebody starts to lead me like that, it's kind of I don't know. It's kind of like I don't want to say it, but like it's kind of like, all right, let's go. This is thank you for doing that, because whenever somebody does do that, it's not in their best favor to lead you that hardcore. That just shows you that they're getting anxious on the start, and when they get anxious, they're not going to hit the throttle right. They're not thinking about it. They're more worried about beating your right front than having perfect posture, and I think having perfect posture is more important than leading somebody on a restart. If you can have perfect posture and kind of roll downhill with the water, you're going to beat that person 9 times out of 10 instead of just trying to beat their right front. There's a lot of things you can look at on a restart that kind of help you prevail and help you do better on these starts, but I don't think staring at somebody's right front is one, and I think that's ultimately what he did. And now, like how I just said it, water runs downhill. The posture is the most important thing on a restart. If you can hit that perfectly and then hit the apex of the cone and still carry all your speed. I was kind of running a slider line because there was a lot of grip to be had in the middle, but Lane told me probably to just run the bottom all the way around both corners probably would have been in my best favor, and I agree with him on that one, but I was just kind of running where my eyes told me to run and wherever the car wanted to run. We had this thing a little snugged up too. As you can see, I'm kind of I have my hands straight all the way through the whole entire corner, and I'm barely even turning right the whole entire time. So this car is hooked up and hauling right now, and then I'm even a little turned left for my liking on entry, and then I'm just kind of following it all the way around and just keeping the momentum ball up. I think that's the big thing with sprint car racing, is just keeping that momentum ball wound up and wicked up. And yeah, we're pretty much just plugged here on out for the rest of this heat race, and I'm just trying to focus on being my best in every single corner, not kicking out the left rear too much, kind of keeping the left rear under me and plugged in the dirt, and also keeping the right rear stab in the car. And I think you can do that with the throttle input, and the more throttle input you're going to give it, the more the left rear is going to kick out, and the less throttle input you give it, but the more consistent throttle input you give it, that's the more plugged the right rear is going to be all the way through the whole entire corner. And I felt like my 1 and 2 was solid, as if I could have kept it around the tires all the way, but in 3 and 4, if I just opened up the apex a lot too, it probably would have allowed me to carry more speed and be more plugged. But now we get a little hello from homeboy, turns right up in it. I don't know if he was just trying to run the top or what he was doing, but it felt like he was just showing me a little bit of displeasure for rubbing him on the restart. But he was trying to put me into the tires, and I'm not going to let somebody just treat me like that. If you're trying to rub me down on the tires, I'm going to push you up the track. So I pushed him up a little bit on the original start, and yeah, I don't know. That's just, it's dirt racing. That's what you got to do. That position's always way better in your pocket than theirs. But now we're starting P8 for the dash. Lane sucked again with the pill draw. Sorry, Lane. You were worse than I. Nah, you weren't worse than I was with the pill draw. I'm pretty bad with the pill draw, but Lane was pretty bad equally. But at this point, the motor, we kind of had some motor issues. I don't know exactly what it is. Thank you to Cade. He was busting his balls the whole entire night trying to fix the motor situation. We kind of had a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a stumble, because I'm not good with motors. I'm just going to lay that on the line. I can run valves. I can change fuel injection, I can take a head off. But if it comes to fueling a motor or diagnosing issues that aren't fuel or box related, I am kind of out in left field. And this one, the motor would clear out halfway down the straightaway in the heat race. So then Cade busted his balls and changed the barrel valve, changed the fueling a little bit to hopefully lean it out a little bit. And that was the first direction step we took. And then it kind of just made the thing stumble all the way around the corner. And I know that running the top right there wasn't bad, and I probably should have just plugged it around the top the whole entire way. But let's go back to the first night heat race situation. If I'm not 100% comfortable at a place I'm not 100% comfortable, I'm not going to put somebody else's race car in jeopardy. I think that falls in line with running my own family team. I'm not going to, if my car is uncomfortable at a place that I'm uncomfortable, I'm not going to put a race car on the line, because people put way too much money into these things, way too much time, way too much effort. And who the hell am I to go out there when I'm not at 100%, the motor's not up to my 100%. I'm not going to put a race car through that and just try and be a hero for a dash spot and plug it in the fence and tip the thing over and make everyone work twice as hard. That is not the kind of race car driver I am. I definitely am conscious of what goes on and how much effort gets put into these things. And yeah, I don't think wrecking race cars is ever worth it. But ultimately in the feature, Cade also came over right after his B-main. He got out of his car, and I told him, and he instantly got to work on my car right before the horn. We fired up the car, tried to figure out the issues, and ultimately it didn't pan out. It would have been nice, if the circumstances were different. I guarantee Cade Morton could have whipped this bad boy up with Blaine and Chance if they weren't racing themselves, but they were racing. They were running the B-main, and I didn't want to kind of rush anybody because they're running their own race. Who am I to go over there and be like, hey, fix my shit? No, that's not cool. They were running their own race, but